Shalom. I'm back with another quick video. Um, I've been a little MIA mainly because I've been dealing with the Proverbs 31:31 challenge, and I do a couple of videos every week specifically directed to the sisters in the group. So that's just taking a lot of focus, prayer, energy, effort to deal with that daily as we're in daily communication with each other and we're encouraging, giving exhortation, and uplifting each other and addressing whatever issues arise to help each other overcome. So it's just taking a lot of time. Um, but we're in our second to last week. The challenge is almost over. The Most High is truly blessed thus far. And because we still have days to go, I still have an expectation of great things to come. But today, I want to bring to you all something that has actually been in my mind and on my heart for a while now, and that is the relationships or relational issues in the family structure and how we're very broken down, how we're very disconnected from each other, and why. And we know in Deuteronomy it talks about how uh, the sons and daughters would be sold and we'd have no might in our hand and no one could buy us, back or return us to our parents and everything like that. And it's manifested into something else because it actually comes down now to a lot of discord, a lack of nurturing, a lack of love, a lack of that affection that you would think naturally occurs between a mother and a daughter, or a father and a son, brother and sister, sister and sister, brother and brother, whatever. Um, just to look out for one another, to truly care for one another, and everything like that. And that's because the hearts of many are wicked. They're wicked in the sense that a lot of people are self-serving, self-absorbed, self-focused, and it's this survival of the fittest, or the need to compete that has kind of trapped us into no longer desiring the best, the very best for one another, but more so looking to be better than one another, as opposed to us all being great and being well together. And the general way I was able to sum up what I was thinking and what I was feeling was posed as a question. I posed it as a question, and the question is, why don't we give what we didn't get? And what I mean by that is, I know so, so many people, more people than not, okay? The majority of the people I know, um, from generations past up until the younger generations now, who did not receive the nurturing that they required and desired, that did not receive the instruction that they sought out, the structure that they craved, the love and affection and attention from parents and even from other relatives, closer relatives, that they needed to thrive early on. And I look at this and I can say from my standpoint, I always wanted a close relationship with my mom. I always wanted my mom to be like my best friend and stuff like that, because I saw that like in movies and stuff like that, but I never had that. And wisdom instructed me to stop desiring that as an adult because it wasn't going to happen. Basically, I just had to accept the fact that my mother was not, for whatever reason, capable of giving that. And I considered it took me to get into adulthood to consider the fact that maybe she doesn't know how to give it because she didn't get it herself. But then, as I continue to evolve in wisdom and deal with other people's children and just basic interaction with people, it's not something that is foreign to us innately. We may not know all the proper words to say, but we definitely know what we wanted and what we craved to be said to us. Those I love yous, I miss yous, like, how are you, what's on your mind? Just the attentiveness that you would like from, your parents or whatever. We know what those things consist of, even if we don't know or we feel we don't know how to express it. So then, if you know what you didn't get and what you would like to be said or done to you, why wouldn't you just give that? You know? Because are we really all that different that we don't want these things? Like, what young child or even teenager doesn't want their parents to care about them or to feel like their parents don't care about them? Because I think there's a disconnect with how parents think they're um, expressing love and how they actually need to express love. And so that's something that definitely has to be in the forefront of our minds, just as, our spouses have love languages and things like that. Children have love languages too. And it's definitely necessary to connect with your child and know what's going on in their life, but to also be affectionate. Okay, it's okay to love on your child. I'm not saying smother them or become obsessed with them or anything like that, but there's a natural affection that should occur for the child so that they know how to properly function as an adult. You know, they know that they don't have to look at somebody and be instantly suspicious. And I'm not talking about being unwise, but I'm talking about in just in this truth and how proper relationships are supposed to be conducted. Of course, there's discernment that needs to be kept. There's wisdom and knowledge of certain things, what they call street smarts and stuff like that. And I'm not saying to be overly trusting, but I'm talking about family dynamics and basic relationship dynamics between parents. I'm not talking about the extreme cases where something is wrong. And I searched the scriptures, and it was interesting because before I was in the truth, I was one who was not very sociable. I mean, I've gotten better with that. This challenge has definitely blessed me to become better with that on a consistent, regular, everyday basis because I've never done anything like this before. But I was not very social. I was not, emotionally connected to too many people at all. I could count on one hand. And so without that connection, that general care and did not exist on the level that it needed to. So then I just didn't generally care about people. And I found that I had disconnected because I was not connected. I wasn't taught to be connected. We didn't have those type of connections. I could tell you all types of conversations I should have had. Some I even, I could, because I was a seeker of knowledge. I would ask certain questions and I just would not get the response that was needed, the truth response, the righteous response that was needed for me to succeed righteously in my life. I would, just openly ask questions, but the conversations weren't had and the answers weren't given and whatever else. And so you lack until you come into the knowledge of what you desire based on what you seek out yourself. And I've, searched the scriptures because I know in several places, which I'll read in the scriptures, it talks about the mother against the daughter, the father against the son, and stuff like that. In Ezekiel 16:44, it says, as is the mother, so is the daughter. So I attribute this to learned behavior because you, especially children, they often act out in ways that they see, in the manners that they see, and the things that they absorb as they're learning and growing. So if you grow up being an extremely affectionate person, that's a learned behavior. All of our behaviors are learned, are taught. That's why Proverbs, what is it, 22:16 or 22:6? I think it's 16. Train up a child in the way they should go. When he's old, he will not depart. I just feel like I should say the correct verse because I don't want to misspeak on that. It's Proverbs 22. And this wasn't one of the initial scriptures, so 22:6. It was 22:6. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. So that tells you that behaviors are learned, and we need to unlearn and undo and break these generational curses because it is a curse not to love your children, not to teach them all that they need to know, especially about righteousness. That's There's so many things wrong with that. And what do you expect that child to become when you don't shape and mold them properly? They become adults who lack, and I mean, they could have wanted it, but it was just never given. So then they just do whatever it is they know to do, and they don't do better than that. Um, and that's it. It's an initial limitation. Now, of course, once you get older, you can, seek out who you truly desire to be and become that person. But the question is, why don't we just give what we didn't get? And I believe part of the answer is because there's a lack of wisdom. I'm sorry, my eyes itching because these eyelashes went into them. But anyways, yeah, it's more so a lack of wisdom, a lack of knowledge in the first place, and then a lack of wisdom to share and give these instructions and things like that. Like I was talking to a sister yesterday, and we were talking about when we learned about bank accounts and how we learned about bank accounts, and we were adults. Like that wasn't something that was taught to us. But it's not like the parents did not have knowledge of these things; they just didn't teach it. It's kind of like, once you hit a certain age, and it doesn't have to be 18, it could be 15 or 16, you're on your own, figure life out for yourself. But why? Why intentionally, you know, cause your child or, you know, any child to struggle? Why not give the information liberally? The Most High says, no good thing will He withhold from them that walk upright and are called according to His purpose. So, why do we hoard information? Why do we hoard righteous things and teachings and skills and whatever else? Like, why would we do that? It's a cursed mindset, and we have to break that. It's a generational curse that says, okay, make sure you're okay, do what you need to do, as long as you give them food and give them clothes and have a place over their head, then that's enough. But it's not enough. Children were able to get married or be betrothed in the Bible. They had knowledge of many different things by the time. I mean, like in ancient times, a 10-year-old then is not anywhere close to a 10-year-old now. Even when I was 10 years old, I had knowledge of certain things that some 10-year-olds, a lot of 10-year-olds don't have, as far as just life skills, basic, very basic life skills. And then Now you have a more sexually charged generation where they know way more about sex than I do, but they weren't able to cook. You see what I'm saying? So it's totally perverted. It's totally crazy. It's totally like just off. And I'm gonna read um, Micah chapter 7, verse 6, and that says, "For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter riseth up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own household." And that rang true for me even now, even today. Um, I still experience that, and it's that sin nature. But we're talking about coming into righteousness. We can't do things the way we always did them. And the reason being is because they were unrighteous. Like, it is not wisdom. And I feel like it's not right not to teach your children how to conduct themselves appropriately. That's a fail as a parent, not to teach your children how to conduct themselves appropriately, not to teach them what they need concerning basic life skills and structure and everything like that. And again, I'm not talking about instances where the parent is not able to see the child, because I know it's child support mess, where mothers try to keep the fathers away from the children and vice versa, where fathers keep the children away from the mother. And I'm not talking about those off and crazy situations where the parent is actually at fault for doing harm to the child. I'm talking about just out of spite and being vindictive and being wicked. Okay, so you have tons of instances like that, and you have all kinds of blockage and whatever else from the righteous teaching going forward. But you know what? Those parents will be charged with that because it's not right. And I'm going to read Luke 12, verse 51 through 53. Okay, Luke 12, 51 53 says, "Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. For from henceforth shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against his son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law." My last scripture is Matthew 10:34 through 36, and 37 gives a context of that when it's talking about loving anyone more than loving the Most High. Then you're going to miss the kingdom, because that's like idolatry, really. When you put anyone or anything above the Creator, the Father, the Heavenly Father. So, right. And basically, it's time to break these generational curses where we don't apply wisdom, where we don't collect knowledge and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. Very few, and you see all other nations do it. They'll do it, you know. They'll teach the successes and failures of those that came before them, and, keep whatever they gain within their family, within their community, within their people. We're the only ones out here at each other's necks trying to, be puffed up and better than somebody else. But we're a whole nation of people. Like, we're supposed to rise together. There is no um, individual rising that's going to occur, but it's so many people who want to exalt themselves and puff themselves up and whatever else. Like, keep all that same energy when you need to teach your child how to become an entrepreneur, okay? Invest some money in some lawnmowers and then start you up a business, you know? Teach them how to cut grass good. If you know how to do landscaping, teach them that. And then they can teach their children that, you know? Teach, you know, whatever skill you have. And it's not like you can't obtain skills. You see what I'm saying? It's not like you can't study for yourself. If you don't have money to go to college or pay for school or whatever else, you can learn. I don't care what anybody says because this is all a ploy that I'm not even going to go off into a tangent about. But you can learn the same thing in school, studying yourself, the same books, okay? The same teachings, and don't spend thousands on thousands on thousands of dollars to obtain the information. Will it take more work? Yeah, because you have to seek the knowledge out for yourself. But don't be lazy. Like, that's the answer to that. Don't be lazy. Don't be slothful. Build your righteous legacy because you should have some type of knowledge, some type of wisdom that you can pass on to whoever. It doesn't even have to just be your children or children, you know, that you teach, you know, that you may be affiliated with, or, you know, like your nieces and nephews or little cousins or whatever. Have a whole group of women. This will be a part of your legacy that you teach something to, and they in turn will teach their children and the women that they work with and everything. Like, that's how things spread. Just like how the word of the Most High is supposed to be spread, we need to spread knowledge that way too, and stop being foolish and ridiculous, you know, and be okay with loving one another. And love is an action. It's not just emotional feelings and whatever else. But yes, I will say hug your children, you know, give them little kisses on the forehead or cheek or whatever. Like, because that's how they understand, perceive, and receive affection. So do that. Be affectionate with them. Also, love them enough to teach them something. And we don't need any more empty headed knuckleheads running around. Okay, we're trying to bring those back into wisdom and stuff like that. Don't don't perpetuate our failures. Begin to operate and begin to extend our successes to others. You know, don't worry about because it's a lot of competition in Israel. It's a lot of competition just here, period, wherever, period. You know, it's a lot of people who may make clothes. I use this as an example often because more and more I see people sisters, but also some brothers too who may have T-shirts or something like that. But they do Hebrew apparel more and more and more. There are enough Hebrews to support everybody. Okay, one person is not going to get everybody's business. It could be because first of all, what the Most High has for you is for you. Okay, whatever He purposed you to do, that's what you're going to do. Everybody does not have the same design concept. Everybody does not have the same level of skill, the eye for fashion, the um, just appeal. It's different things that appeal to different people. Okay, so some people might be on the high end fashion side, whereas some are on the more, you know, uh, how can I describe this? The less, you know, I'm trying to use the correct verbiage because I don't want to sound um, let me say everyday stuff, whereas some people might deal with more formal stuff. And, you know, some people do really long garments that drag the floor, whereas others, you know, do something nice, like right to the foot or something like that. And materials and fabrics and colors and shipping prices. All these things are a factor into that. So it's enough for everybody to get something. Everybody's doing a lot of the same thing, but that's because that's what we're good at. And we need to tap into other areas that are less less put in the forefront. So, but that's another video. I'm not going to get all into that. Just, we can start today giving what we didn't get. Whatever we were lacking, you can give that to somebody else, be it your children or somebody else's child, or somebody, another sister that you're working with, or whatever else. Some children were never told that they were pretty, or that they were beautiful, or that they were loved, and so they sought that from somebody else, whether it was a man or a woman, or whoever. And they have strangers now who aren't sincere. They prey on stuff like that. Okay, so we have to teach self-love, we have to teach discipline, we have to teach our value. Okay, because a virtuous woman, the price is far above means it surpasses and exceeds that a great deal, far above rubies. Okay, and rubies were very valued, very treasured, especially in the ancient times. Nowadays people like diamonds, but diamonds are just a rock. That's another video too. So yeah, all praises. That's what I want to say. Be sure to be intentional with what you do, and the knowledge you have should not die with you. It should be shared. It was given to you to continue to exist. Make it a part of your legacy. Do what you do, and do it all in righteousness. Until next video, shalom, most high blessings to you and your houses.